All right, everybody, let's take a look at lesson 5. Okay, so before we start, I'm just going to write up here that big idea we were talking about the past couple days is we were doing how many groups times the size of a group equals our total. This was the big multiplication problem that we are working with. And then for division, we were doing total divided by how many groups equals the size per group. And we were using these ideas yesterday to draw different pictures to help us understand division a little bit better. And today is just part 2 of that. We're going to keep going through this idea. How many groups of something are we going to be finding? So I'm just going to erase this piece right here so I have a little bit more room to do our warm-up today. There we go. For each question, if you get stuck, use the fraction strips. Be prepared to share your strategy. So how many halves are in 2? I'm going to think about this as a picture. Here's one whole. Here's one whole. I have 1 and 1 all together. This makes 2. But I'm not concerned about the ones. I'm concerned about halves. So if I have one whole, how many halves are in it? Well, here's a half. There's a half. Here's a half. Here's another half. These are halves. So I can see then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 halves. So 4 pieces the size of a half in 2, which I can see down here. Here's my 2 wholes. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my halves. So instead of me drawing this picture, we're going to now take a look down here. So this was saying how many 1/2s are in 2. So just to help us keep practicing writing those equations, this was how many groups the size of 1/2 equaled 2. That was the equation we were solving. So how many 1/5s are in 3? So this is saying how many 1/5s are in 3. So I'm going to do question 2 over here so I can draw a picture really fast. So I'm going to have 3 holes. 1, 2, 3 holes. And then I want pieces. So here's 1 hole, 1 hole, 1 hole, the size of a 5th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, I made that too big. Just kidding, guys. There were 6 in that. I only want 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if I have 3 holes, 1, 2, 3. Each little piece of these down here is the size of a 5th. So how many 1/5s are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So my answer is 15. All right, my next one. How many 1/8s are in 1 1/4? All right, so here's my 1. And then here I actually only have a quarter. I don't have a full piece. It's just a quarter. Well, how many 8s fit in 1? Well, that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, how many pieces the size of 1/8 fit in a 4th? Well, I can use my chart to help me see this. Here's a piece that's the size of a 4th. Here are my 1/8s. How many 1/8s fit into a 4th? Well, there were 2. So I had 8 here and 2 here, so there are 10 pieces the size of an eighth. So this was how many pieces the size of 1/8 was equal to a total of 1 1/4. Okay, so this is saying we have a total of 1, and it's being split into pieces the size of a 6. Now I can change this problem then to be multiplication to say how many groups the size of 2 6 equals a total of 1. Okay, so now that we've kind of rephrased that, let's take a look at our picture down here. We have a group of 1. Now, if I look down, can I find 1 6? Well, yes, I can. Now, I need 2 6, so I need 2 pieces the size of 1 6. There's 1, 2, 3. So my answer for 4 is 3. I'm just going to highlight these answers because it's getting a little hard to find them. Okay, same thing for question 5. It says 2. So you have a total of 2. You're going to split it into pieces the size of 2 ninths. How many do you have? If I can phrase this as how many pieces the size of 2 ninths fit into 2. Okay? I'm looking for 2. Here's 1 whole. Here's 2 whole. Now my groups are the size of 2 ninths. So down here you see the 1 ninths, but I need 2 of them to make a group. So that's 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups, 7 groups, 8 groups, 9 groups. So I'm going to say 9 for this one. Okay, and my last one here is 4 divided by 2/10. Well, that's the same as how many groups the size of 2/10 equals 4. Now, before I go on, what do we know 2/10 to be the same as? Well, 2/10 can be reduced, and I can think of this as how many groups the size of 1/5 equal 4. That's a little bit easier to use. So I don't have enough pieces in my picture, so I'm just going to draw this one on my own. I'm going to do 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 1, 1, 1. Now I need to break this into pieces the size of a 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 pieces here. This makes 10, 15, 20. I have 20 pieces. All right, guys, let's keep going and take a look at our next activity. We're going to be going back to these ideas of these pattern blocks to help us kind of see some different pictures about these division problems. So we're going to be talking about these pattern blocks, but this time they're going to tell us that the trapezoid today is 1 whole. Okay? If a trapezoid represents 1 whole today, what do each of the following shapes represent? Be prepared to explain your reasoning. All right, so when I look at this, if I have my trapezoid, and this is supposed to be 1 whole, how many triangles does it look like would fit inside of it? 1, 2, 3 triangles. So a triangle is going to be worth 1/3 today. Okay. How many rhombuses? Well, if I draw a rhombus in here, I for sure can fit 1, but can I fit a second one? Well, no, if I fit a second one, it would go outside. So this is 1 1/2. Or we could think of this as 3/2. And last, how many hexagons fit in here? Well, a hexagon doesn't fit at all. A hexagon would actually end up being bigger than the trapezoid. So that's going to tell us, see, there's my trapezoid, that the whole hexagon, what am I doing? Is actually going to be equal to 2. Because I have 2 trapezoids in that hexagon. All right, so these are going to be the numbers that we use today. Let's see how they work for us. Okay, so use a block to represent each multiplication equation. Use the trapezoid today, that's the red one, to represent a hole. So we have 3 trapezoids, 3 holes. So trapezoid 1, 2, oh, I'm sorry, I did this backwards. I'm acting like that's the total. This is saying we have, oh, let's put this over here. Our multiplication problems mean this. How many groups times the size of group equals your total. This is what we're using for all of these. So I have 3 groups the size of a third are equal to 1. So what 3 groups the size of a third? The triangle was the size of a third. So I need to draw 3 triangles. 1, goodness, that was a terrible picture. I'm going to try that again. 1, 2, sorry guys, my picture skills are failing me today. Try again. Triangle 1. Triangle 2. That looks so much better. And 3. 3 triangles equal a hole. Remember, today we're saying that 1 trapezoid is a hole. These are my green triangles. My next one is saying I have 3 groups the size of 2 thirds. Okay, 2 thirds represents 2 triangles. So I have 3 groups the size of 2 triangles. So here's, actually this one I'm going to color each triangle different to show that it was each its own group. There you go. All right, so for this one, here's my 2 triangles. That's group 1. Now I need to draw another 2. Here's going to be group 2. And I need to draw another 2 for my last group. Group 3. So I have 1, 2, 3. 3 groups, 1 group. So the orange group, the red group, the purple group. The size of 2 thirds, there are 2 triangles in it, equal 2. All right, Diego and Jada were asked how many rhombuses are in a trapezoid. Diego says 1 1/3. If I put 1 rhombus on the trapezoid, the leftover shape is a triangle, which is 1/3 of the trapezoid. Jada thinks it's 1 1/2. Since we find out how many rhombuses, we should compare the length overall to a rhombus, and a triangle is half of a rhombus. Is the answer 1 1/3 or 1 1/2? It is 1 1/2 because of what Jada is saying. We need to compare it back to the rhombus, not to the trapezoid. See? 1 1/2 because that triangle is half the trapezoid. Okay, let's take a look at this question 4, which, oh, not our last one, we have one more after it. Select all equations that could represent how many rhombuses are in a trapezoid. Now, a rhombus, again, we said, is 1 1/2. The trapezoid is 1. And we also know 1 1/2 can be described as 3 over 2. So 2/3 divided by what number equals 1? We have what number times 2/3 equals 1? 1 equals 2/3. Sorry, 1 divided by 2/3 equals something. And 1 times 2/3 equals something. And something divided by 2/3 equals 1. So I'm going to ignore these for a second, and I'm going to think about this question using my ideas of multiplication. Okay, so we know we can do how many groups? So groups times the size of group equals your total. So how many rhombuses? This means we don't know how many groups, but we know the size is 3/2, and we're trying to get to a total of 1. So do we have anything that matches this so far? Something times 3/2 equals 1. Nope, not quite. All right. Kiddos, as long as you understand this piece right here, I'm okay. I want you to actually skip this. And just, as long as you're okay with this, we're good. We're going to do the last one. Okay, for each situation, draw a diagram for the relationship of the quantities to help you answer the question. Then, write a multiplication equation or division equation for the relationship. Be prepared to share your reasoning. All right, so essentially, we have to draw a picture and write an equation. So, because there's not a lot of room, oh, there's actually 2 more. Huh, look at that. All right, I'm going to write question 1 here, question 2 here, and question 3 here. I'm going to move 3 over. I didn't give myself enough room for that one. All right, the distance around a park is 5/2 a mile. Noah rode his bike around the park for a total of 3 miles. How many times around the park did he ride? So what we don't know is we don't know how many times he went around, but we know the size is 3/2. So I have a total of 3 miles. I need to get to a total of 3 miles. And I've got to count by 3 over 2. So notice 3 over 2 has a denominator of 2. 3 doesn't have any denominators. Technically, it's got a denominator of 1. 3 over 1. I want to make that 2 match 3 over 1. So I'm going to change this 3 over 1. I'm going to multiply both pieces by 2 to get 6 over 2. So I'm going to think about this as 6 over 2. So if he went 3 miles, how many times did we have to go to get, how many times do we need a piece the size of 3 over 2 to get to 3 miles? So I'm going to start with 3 over 2. That's group 1. Am I at 6 over 2 yet? Nope. So I'm going to do it again. 3 over 2. Now am I at 6 over 2? Yes. So I need 2 groups. I could think of this as how many groups times something the size of 3/2 equals 3 miles. All right, let's do question 2. You need 3/4 ribbon for 1 gift box. You have 3 yards of ribbon. How many gift boxes do you need? Well, I have a total of 3 yards. And I know each piece is 3/4. How do I get 3/4 to be 3 yards? Now, I'm going to change my 3 yards to have the same denominator. So I'm going to multiply by 4, and that's going to give me 12/4. So we're going to think about this as 12/4. So let's see, 3/4 is my first group. Is that enough? No. Let's do it again. 3/4 is my second group. 3 plus 3 is 6. Is that 12? No. I'm going to do it again. 3/4. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. Is that 12? No. I'm going to do it again. 3, 3, 3, 3. 12. Yes. I need 4 groups. So how many groups times the size of 3/4 is equal to 3 yards was the problem that we were solving. The water hose fills a bucket at 1/3 gallon per minute. How many minutes does it take to fill 2 gallons? Now see, I have a total of 2. And I want each piece to be the size of 1/3. But this is 2/1. I want to put a 3 underneath it so I can compare. So I'm going to multiply by 3. I get 6/3. So I need to count until I get 1/3 to be 6/3. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1, 2, 3, 4, not there yet. 1/3 and 1/3. I need 6 groups. So then, this was how many groups the size of 1/3 fit into 2. Guys, we are going to skip the select this equation piece right now, but I do want us to draw a diagram to represent the situation. A grocery store sells tangerines in 2/5 kilogram bags. A customer bought 4 kilograms of tangerines. So they bought a total of 4 kilograms. And each piece is the size of 2/5. So notice that this is a 4/1. I want to think of this as over 5 so that it matches. So 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So this is the same as 20/5. So I need to count until I get 2/5 to be 20/5. 2/5. If I do another 2/5, now I'm at 4. If I do it again, now I'm at 6. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. How many groups did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 groups, which we know we can represent this as how many groups? The size of 2/5 equaled 4 kilograms. All right, kiddos, that's all for today.